A big Nintendo Switch 2 leak talks a new chip for the system that promises way more power. But it seems like that has backfired, and now we have a more realistic idea of exactly how strong this next Switch system will be. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you are locked in and ready to go for some more Nintendo Switch 2 news. The more that this goes on, the more close we get to actually Nintendo talking about this dang thing. But a big leak happened a couple days ago from a mostly mobile chip leaker. All right, this comes from Twitter and a dude by the name of Connor talking about how Nintendo Switch 2, according to him, is going to be using an NVIDIA Tegra chip, but one manufactured from 5LPP, which is a 5 nanometer chip developed by Samsung. This would be notably stronger than the T239 system on a chip that we have heard heavily rumored and discussed and leaked before. So this would be a much stronger Switch 2, which is pretty exciting. Most of the Switch 2 discourse centers around a system that is either insanely strong or like PS4, PS4 Pro. I think getting any idea that this is going to be a PS5, Xbox Series X level system is asking for disappointment. And apparently there's even disappointment as it is right now, because the leaker Connor comes back to say, oops, this actually was no longer being considered for the Switch a while back. Apparently it's more of an automotive chip, and there was some sort of change at NVIDIA that made them switch, and this was not an option for the Switch 2. So he kind of backtracked saying it was 5LPP, but unfortunately NVIDIA changed Atlan to Thor, and they seemed to cancel the Tegra for Nintendo. Now there's more reports after this that Nintendo could be using a beefier chip than we did think with that T239. But the bottom line with all of this mumbo jumbo and all of this tech discourse is that, hey, the Switch is in fact not using a super strong chip. So if you have seen rumors or leaks about like, oh my gosh, the Switch is actually going to be crazier than we ever thought, no, let's bring that back down to earth. It's important that we do not overestimate what a Switch 2 could do, because this is still Nintendo. They do not ultimately prioritize the utmost power. They go for convenience, they go for price, and they go for games. It's ultimately all about the games for Nintendo, and that's why even in 2017, they used a chip for the original Switch that was out in 2015. So most likely, sources say, the Switch 2 chip is already out there. Given that this system should come out late this year, next year, the chip is probably out there, and we probably can like know all the specs and know exactly what it does and what it's capable of if we could just zero in. Speaking of zeroing in, a new article comes up from notebookcheck.net with some scuttlebutt of their own. They're talking about 3 potential chips that the Switch 2 could be using, one being the often discussed Drake T239 chip. They also mention that they could be using a better Orin Nano 8GB chip that would have a 128-bit memory bus width and 1024 shader processors, and it's supposedly a $300 chip. Obviously Nintendo would get that at a discount, but this would bring the shaders 4 times the strength of the original Switch and double the bus width. Now I'm going to be honest with you, bus width don't mean much of anything to me, so I totally understand if it means nothing to you. Basically just know that the chip we've been talking about a lot, this T239 chip that most likely is being used, is an 8 nanometer chip. That's probably where things are staying. The 5 nanometer chip that was rumored about Samsung and all that is out of the way, not a thing. And then they also mentioned an Orin NX 16GB chip, which would be very expensive and require a lot of power, but it would take the Switch 2's teraflops up to 1.88. The original Switch is 0.39. 0.39 teraflops out of that homeboy Switch, so 1.88 would be like a, what? Like a 4.5 times power increase. And it will be something around like a PS4 or PS4 Pro. I think the takeaway here of everything is there's a lot coming up about chips, and a lot of it is going to be difficult to understand, even for me, somebody that covers this every day. But what I want you to take away is when you hear that the Switch 2 could be ultra giga powerful, no. Just discount that right away, throw it out of the trash. The Switch 2 will probably have DLSS, the Switch 2 will definitely be stronger, and it most likely will be comparable to a PS4 or a PS4 Pro. Now that might sound meh to you considering this is a 2023 or 2024 launch and the PS4 is way back when we were babies. But alas, this is a system that can go portable or on the TV, and if you consider what the Switch does with some games that were on PS4, know that a PS4 Pro level Switch 2 would actually be a substantial uptick, and with DLSS technology, it probably could do even more. You're talking about a massive increase from the 0.39 teraflops that the original Switch possesses. Whatever we go up to, 1.5, 1.6, 1.88, 2, whatever it goes up to, it is an exponential increase over the Switch, and it will be stronger. I have a strong suspicion that once we get even closer to what this chip is, and if it ends up being the T239, there's going to be a lot of back and forth. There's going to be a camp that's really excited about Switch 2 having more power and providing 4K capabilities for the first time to Nintendo. And then there's going to be a camp of people that say, oh my god, Nintendo is so stuck in the past, we're doing PS4 stuff in 2024? What are we thinking? How is this possible? The PS5 came out years ago and we're way beyond that. But just remember, look how much Nintendo got out of a 2015 chip. Look how much Nintendo got out of 0.39 teraflops. Look how much Nintendo got out of way worse performance than its current modern competitors. At the end of the day, the Switch 2 is going to be a Hercules of a system by Nintendo standards. And at the end of the day, it's going to be a substantial upgrade over the Switch that is notably visible to hardcore gamers, casual gamers, and parents trying to buy this thing for their kids. I really do believe that even if we're stuck with the Tegra 239 chip from NVIDIA, that will be fine. Nintendo does get sort of a semi-custom variant usually, so it's not just the off-the-shelf model. They will make it work, and they are very good at sucking a lot out of a little. Kirby is a mascot after all, so fear not. And also, Rex does leak about this 5LPP chip. You see that going around. You see a Samsung developed chip for Nintendo. No, that's not a thing. Anyways, let me know what you think, and if you're excited about Switch 2, do teraflops matter to you? Does PS4 Pro sound good enough, or does that make you skeptical and wanting to drop $350, $400 on a new system? Talk at me in the comments. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.